Hi, I'm Dixie. Welcome to Mindful Movement, Breath and Body. In this class, each week, we'll be focusing on a different region of the body and combining movement with the movement of the breath. And in yoga, we refer to breath as prana. Prana is our vital life force, our vital energy. So without the breath, we can't exist. So the breath in this class will be referred to as prana. In today's class, we're going to look at the neck, which I will sometimes say cervical area, so the neck, and the mid and upper back, which I might refer to as the thoracic region. And the thoracic region and our ability to move kind of in this space from the rib cage up is dependent, or it affects the mobility we have in the neck. So we'll be working on both of these regions throughout the class. You will need a block. If you don't have a block for the thing that we're going to use it for initially, if you have a foam roller, that would be acceptable. You can also not use anything, but we'll also sit on the block. If you don't have a block, you might have a blanket and also a strap. Yoga strap would work. If you don't have a yoga strap, a short kind of dish towel or a resistance band that's longer would also work. So have both of these close by, and we're going to start on our backs. So come down onto your back and start with your feet on the floor, about mat distance wide, and allow your knees to knock in towards each other. Adjust so that you feel an even amount of weight on your hips and your shoulder blades, and taking your shoulder blades slightly down your back to give your neck enough space. And go ahead, if you have not already, and close your eyes. Just allowing the hands to rest wherever they're comfortable, and take a moment to settle in. Allowing your mind to scan over your body, noticing areas of tension or gripping, and just allowing yourself to move mindfully into those spaces, and perhaps encourage a softening of those spaces as you exhale. And as you settle in, allow your mind to travel to your breath. And if you're like me, every time I think of my breath, I try to fix my breath, try to make the perfect breath. And as you maybe attempt that, just notice what that means to you. And then let that go. So in other words, try not to control your breath. Just allow your body to respond naturally to this moment of stillness and presence. And as you bring your awareness to your breath, notice where you feel the breath in your body. Maybe you can feel it as it enters and exits the nose. Noticing the regions of your torso where you feel the breath more predominantly. And as you track these areas in your mind, and try not to judge, and again, try not to change. Just allow yourself to sense your natural breath. And then bring one hand to your lower belly, so allowing it to rest on the belly below your belly button. And bring your other hand to rest on the bottom of your rib cage. So not the top, not where the heart is. We often bring our hands there. Today, we're going to bring our hands to our lower ribs. And this is the space of the diaphragm. And as you bring your hands into this region, notice what naturally happens to the breath. Sometimes just the sense of touch helps to guide the breath into this area. And feel the natural expansion of the belly and the bottom of the rib cage. Again, trying not to control. And if you don't feel the breath naturally move into this area, start to direct the breath into this area. So feeling the slight rise and fall of the lower and upper belly. And we often say to take a deep breath, and that gets translated into take a big breath. Instead, can you just think of taking it deep into your lower body, the lower belly, the lower ribs. The neck has many muscles that also act as accessory muscles for breathing. And accessory muscles mean they help only when necessary. But what often happens when we take our breath low up in the upper chest, with shallow breath, we unknowingly engage these muscles of the neck and the chest, and they can become overworked and taxed. So as you bring your awareness to this movement in your lower belly and lower rib cage, can you sense a release of the muscles working in the neck and upper chest? And release the hands down beside your body. And see if you can continue to breathe in this lower region of your torso. And then just slowly allow your head to move from side to side. Eyes can remain closed. And just get a awareness of how your neck feels as you move it side to side. Notice how far it goes to each side. And as you start to introduce movement into your body, notice what happens to your breath. Notice if it starts to quicken or deepen, become larger or louder, and try to soften your breath. So can you make it lighter? Can you continue to take it low into your body? Can you keep it slow? And bring your head to stillness. And if you have your block or your foam roller, go ahead and grab it with both hands. We're going to be using the wide side down. Lift your head and bring the block to support your head. And then you're going to use the edge of your block. It's kind of a prop for the suboccipital region of your neck. So you probably don't know what that means. That's the area, the bottom of the scalp where your hairline is, the bottom of your skull. You're going to tilt the top edge of your block that's closest to your neck up into that region. So the kind of narrow, long end supports the neck, and the edge of the block is supporting that region where your skull is. And you probably will have to use your hands to keep your block there. And just again, allow your head to move side to side. You can maybe draw figure eights with your nose. And kind of give yourself a lovely massage to start this practice out with. And as you move into this region, notice what you feel. Notice if you find areas that are a little bit more sensational, meaning maybe there's a little tenderness there. If you find that area, rock into that area and kind of pause. Notice the breath and come back into that low, light, soft breath. Allow that region of tenderness to soften into your block or your foam roller. And then maybe start to nod your head. Yes. And then again, make the figure eights exploring the regions again, maybe finding another tender point and doing the same thing. So pausing into that, softening the breath, and then nodding. And come back to center. Move the block from underneath your head, bringing the head back to the floor, and allowing the arms to just rest out to the side. T to the body. And again, make figure eights with your nose now with the back of your head on the floor. You can think of it like a bobblehead, so keeping it nice and loose so that your head moves gently and with ease. And always coming back into the space of the breath. So as we move through this class, we're going to try to resist the urge to go into our old patterns of that long, deep, ujjayi, loud breath. And instead keep it light and slow and easeful and even quiet. And then allow the head to settle still. Walk the feet in line with your sit bones. Lift your hips slightly off the floor and shift them about an inch to the right. Straighten your left leg long to the ground and grab your right knee with both hands, hugging the knee towards the chest. You're going to continue to hold the knee with the left hand, drawing the knee slightly towards the left shoulder as you extend the right arm out to the side, T to your body. And then use your left hand to draw your knee all the way towards the floor to the left side of your mat. If the knee will not rest comfortably on the floor, you can use your block or your foam roller to prop your knee up. Your right shoulder will lift completely off the floor, and that's okay. Both arms are out wide, T from the body, palms facing up. Allow your right hand to come across your chest. So your hand will actually touch your chest. And then take the fingers down the inside of your left arm. Allow your head to roll on the floor as you reach the palms together. And then perhaps reach your right fingertips further than your left fingertips. Allow the head to relax. So the forehead potentially could rest on the floor. And then bring the right hand back across the left forearm, left upper arm, taking it across your chest. Head is following the arm as you take the right arm out to the right side and allow the head to again fall towards the floor, towards the right hand. Perhaps if your head can fall that far, gazing towards your right thumb. And then reach the right hand back across the chest. Take it down the left arm, palms touch, forehead on the floor. Reach right fingertips further than the left hand. Forehead resting on the floor. And then reach the right hand back across the forearm. Feel the fingertips drag across the upper arm, the chest. Stretch the right arm long out to the side and gaze towards your right thumb. Pause here. Notice where the breath moves easily and notice where it doesn't. Can you take the breath down into that lower rib, lower belly in this twisted position? And then start to add a little bit of just moving naturally with the same movement. So at your own speed, not worrying about what breath is right, just breathing slow, low, and quietly. Twisting open, reaching the arm and the head back. Twisting closed, allowing the side of the head to roll the forehead down towards the floor. Just continue this movement back and forth. Finding first the movement of the head, the neck, and the spine, the thoracic spine. And then noticing as you take your mind onto your breath, what happens, or your body, what happens to your breath. And then shift awareness to your breath as you find more ease, more lightness, less control. The next time you roll open, stay open. Continue to allow the right knee to fall towards the floor to the left. Allow your head to roll open towards the right. And then slowly roll the right foot back to the floor in line with your right sit bones. Bend the left knee, lift the hips, shift the hips slightly to the left. Straighten your right leg down. Hug left knee in towards your chest using both hands. Then keep your right hand on the outside of your left knee. Bring the left hand out to the side. Start to guide the right knee towards the left side of your mat. Rolling, using the block or the foam roller under your knee if you need. And then extend right arm out to the side in line with your shoulders. Palms face up. And take your left hand across your chest, touching your chest. Taking it down your upper arm, down your forearm, reaching palms together, and then extending fingers beyond your right hand, forehead rocks towards the floor. And then take your fingertips across your forearm, upper chest, extend arm out to the left, allowing the head to fall towards the floor to the left, maybe gazing towards your left thumb. Pause here. Breathe into the spaces where the breath does not naturally move in a twist. So lower belly, lower ribs. And then bring the left hand back across the upper chest, upper arm, forearm, reach hand beyond the right hand, forehead falling towards the floor above your right upper arm. And then drag it back across. And again, start to find your own rhythm. Keeping that slow, low, quiet breath, finding ease in the movement, finding a little bit more space each time you open up, allowing the head to fall towards the left hand, finding a little bit more softening and release, forehead falling towards the floor as you roll closed. And notice where you feel this in your spine. Notice those spaces that move with ease. Notice those spaces that feel a little stiff, congested. And as you find those places of congestion or stiffness, what happens to the breath in those areas? Can you invite a little bit more ease and comfort into those spaces? Next time you roll open, pause here. Allow the head to fall towards the left shoulder, gazing maybe towards your left thumb. Soften throat and breathe deep. And then release your left foot to the floor, right foot to the floor. Shift hips back to center. And again, bobblehead, maybe making figure eights with your nose. And just notice. Roll onto your left side or right side, press yourself up. So if you do have a block, we're going to use it to sit on. If you're comfortable sitting on your knees with the block underneath your hips, I recommend this position just because it stabilizes your pelvis in neutral a little easier. If, however, this is uncomfortable on your knees or your ankles, you can always just opt to choose to sit in a cross-legged position, or you can start out in this position, and when it becomes uncomfortable, move into that cross-legged position. So just starting, find where the shoulders sit above the hips, lower ribs drawing in, closing your eyes to find, again, that slow, low, and quiet breath. Notice the natural tendency, you might feel that urge to breathe high in your chest, which is more of a shallow breath where the neck muscles become engaged. So can you take it low and deep into your diaphragm? And we're going to invite some movement into this, and not feeling the necessity to match the movement with the breath, just to keep the movement simple and the breath easeful. So start to shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, and then allow them to softly release down your back. And just take this movement, shoulder blades gliding up and down kind of at your own pace, exploring the movement. Sometimes it helps me to imagine, and they are doing this, so I don't have to imagine it, the shoulder blades gliding on my rib cage. So instead of thinking of squeezing the shoulder blades up towards my ears and pulling them down my back like we're often encouraged to do, I like to think of it more easeful and kind of just a gliding of them up and down. So we're often told to pull our shoulder blades down our back, and that gives us the impression that we have to do that A, all the time, and B, forcefully. And although we want some semblance of the shoulders going down our back, when we pull them down our back, we can actually create a tension that is almost as bad as having our shoulders crunched up towards our ears. The shoulders are designed for mobility, so we want to allow them to move. So as you're moving up and down with a nice easeful breath, find this feeling of easefulness. And then the next time you take them up, allow them to set up. Notice what that feels like. And then start to roll them slightly forward and then bring them down. Start to pull them towards your shoulder blades as they remain down. Feel the chest open, and then bring them back up towards your ears. So we're including another movement of the shoulder blades. So now we're drawing circles with our shoulder blades on our rib cage. And when they come forward, I like to think of the shoulder blades sliding on the outside of my rib cage, on the sides of my rib cage. And as they come back, I think of taking them towards my spine. Again, the movement is easeful, never forceful, more of this happy gliding of the shoulder blades. Switch directions. And as you glide your shoulder blades, notice what is happening to your neck. Notice what is happening to your chest and your upper back and those movements forward and back. You might feel little movements in the upper spine. Notice what's happening to your breath. Is it becoming that loud, slow, forceful breath? Can you invite more ease in it? And then allow the shoulder blades to stop. Shake it out a little bit. So as we create more mobility in the thoracic spine, we're going to feel more mobility in the neck. So the neck sits on top, or the skull sits on top of the spine. We have our little axis where the spine goes up into the skull, and then the skull sits on the top of the spine. And it's a different movement than the rest of the neck, which is just flexion and extension and rotation. We get to glide on this axis of the top of the spine. So our normal position a lot of the time, if we're looking at a computer, looks like this. So shoulders kind of rounded forward and the head jutting forward. And you can feel this tension in the back of your neck. And a lot of that is because there's weakness on the front muscles. So this next thing we're going to do, kind of think of pushing your chin. Well, actually take your finger and take it on your chin. And as you sit up, push your chin back towards your throat. And then take the chin forward and use your finger to push the chin towards your throat. And just continue this. So come into that computer screen and then draw it back, sit up. But allow your mind to kind of move into this space of stacking the vertebrae one on top of each other and then sliding the skull back to take your chin towards your throat. And there's this lovely triple chin kind of thing that we're doing. It's very attractive. But think of making that triple chin. Or you can think of trying to hold an orange between the bottom of your chin and the top of your collarbones. And the next time you come back, stay here. So chin is drawing back. And then slide your skull a little to the right and back to center. A little to the left, back to center. Right, left. So again, think of it sliding on that top bone. Then we're going to put these actions together. So take the head forward, take it to the left, back, right. And you can take your hands and hold them right below your collarbones to kind of keep that section still. You also get a little stretch of your scalene muscle, switch directions. Nice. And we're going to put these actions together. So bring your hands forward, palms to touch. Allow your chin to move forward and then drop your head. Take the arms back and open, look up. Palms touch, gaze down towards your chest, round your upper back. Start to take your chin towards your throat, arms open, gaze up. And as you become a little bigger in your movements, start to notice your breath again. Do you automatically go into that bigger breath? Can you move back into that more quiet, slow, and low breath? Good. Release that. So this next thing is one of my favorites. We're going to use a belt for this. Again, a dish towel or a long resistance band would work. Take your belt and wrap it around the neck. We're going to start with crossing the left side of your strap over to the right, and then the right side over to the left. Bend your right elbow at 90 degrees and hold your belt right beside you. And you can even take the elbow back a little bit so you get a little bit more traction. Grab the other end of your belt with your left hand, again, holding that elbow bent at 90 degrees, slightly lower than shoulder part. You're gonna make sure that the belt is right at that suboccipital region, so right where the hairline is. Pull both ends of your belt lightly. And then use your left hand moving off to the left to draw your head over to the left. Take it back to center. Again, draw the head to the left and take it back to center. One more time to the left, stay here. And notice that the belt is in line with the bottom of your jawline. Slightly push that part of your head into the belt. So it's almost as if you're just sensing the awareness of the belt there, and you're slightly shifting the chin or the jaw into the belt. And then let that go and let the belt win. You'll feel your ear tilt down towards your left shoulder. And then again, push the jawline into the belt, lifting the head up. And then pull both ends of your belt lightly as the ear falls towards the right shoulder. Do this a couple of more times. So letting off on the belt slightly as your jaw pushes in, and then pulling the belt a little bit more as your head tilts to the left. And come back to center. We're going to take the belt up a little bit so it's in line with your cheekbone. Pull both ends of the belt and use the belt to take your head to the left. Come back to center. Again, belt moves to the left and come back to center. This time we go to the left, pause here, start to push your cheek into the belt, and then allow the belt to win, pulling both ends, ear tilting a little more towards the shoulder, and then let up on the belt as you push the cheek into the belt, and then pull the belt, tilt. Just a few more times. Always moving back into the breath to find that low, slow, light breath. Release, come back to center. So we're going to go a little higher. So this time it's going to go on your ear. Use the belt to pull your head to the left and back. Pull to the left, back. Pull to the left, hold here. Extend both elbows this time. Push the ear into the belt, let the belt win. Push the ear into the belt, let the belt win. Hold here. Draw in opposite directions on the ends of the belt. And then release back to center. Come back, move your head, just allowing yourself to sense that more, maybe a little bit more freedom and the right side of your neck. And then we'll switch the belt. So now the right side comes underneath, grab it in your left hand. Grab the other side of your belt in your right hand, and we're gonna start it right along the jawline. Pull both ends of the belt, a little bit more on the right side to take the head to the right, come back to center. Pull both ends of the belt, head to the right, back to center. One more time, pull to the right, pause here, draw jawline into your belt, and then pull the belt, right ear goes towards right shoulder. Allow the jaw to win as you push it into the belt. Allow the belt to win. One more time, jaw into belt. Let belt win. Come back up through center. Take the belt a little higher on the cheek line and use the right side of the belt to take your head to the right and back to center. So you're pulling on both ends of the belt, but as you pull on the right side of the belt, it takes your head to the right, pause here, cheek into belt, pull on both ends of the belt to feel that tractioning of the spine, ear towards shoulder, back up to center, cheek, and then belt, cheek wins, belt wins. Come back to center and forward, take it up to your ear. Pull the head to the right, center, both ends of the belt pull, find that tractioning, center. One more time to the right, pause here, straighten both elbows, push your ear into the belt, and then pull on the belt. So each time we go a little higher, continue to do this movement. We find a different feeling of tractioning. Last time, pause. A little bit more on the belt. You never want to feel pain or discomfort, just that kind of easeful freedom feeling. Bring the head back up and release the belt. Okay. Come forward, remove the block, and come onto hands and knees. So wrists are in line with the front of your mat. Fingers are spread wide, pressing the weight into the knuckles, specifically the first finger and thumb knuckle. Press down through your hands, knees are underneath your hips. Engage your lower belly, so drawing your navel up towards your spine, feeling that create a sense of stability in your spine. So reach the tailbone to the wall behind you. You'll have a slight curve in your lower back. Press down through your hands and allow your upper spine to move up towards the sky. So we're going to call these scapular push-ups. So the spine stays long, so we're not going into that regular cat-cow where we're flexing and then and extending the spine. We're going to keep the spine in neutral. Sometimes I like to think of like a broomstick coming out the crown of my head and out my tailbone, keeping the spine in one line. And the shoulder blades are the only place that move. So it helps me to think of taking my rib cage down the inside of my arms, so the upper arms, and my spine falls between my shoulder blades and the shoulder blades come together. And then keeping the spine in neutral, press down through your hands and glide the shoulder blades on the outside of your rib cage. So we did this before. So we're finding this same action. So the spine stays neutral. And I'm going to show you what this looks like shoulder blades come together, and then they glide on the outside of your rib cage. But you're still on hands and knees. You're just creating movement in the shoulder blades. The next time you drop, so shoulder blades coming towards the spine, let your head fall towards the floor. And just shake your head no. Press down through your hands. Start to draw your chin towards your throat. So you're grabbing that orange and taking it up towards your throat to lift your head. So chin towards throat, and then turn your head to the right, center, left, center. Glide your shoulder blades towards your spine, so rib cage goes down the insides of your arms. Let your head fall. Nod your head no. Let your head just drop. And then start to draw your chin up towards your throat as you stack your vertebrae. And then once your head lifts to neutral, turn the head to the right, center, left, center. One more time. Shoulder blades draw towards the spine, head drops, let it hang, shake. Start to draw the chin up towards your throat. Shoulder blades draw on the outside of your rib cage as you lift up. So cervical spine is in neutral, turn the head to the right, center, left, center. Sit your hips back towards your heels in child's pose and rest your forehead on the floor. You can relax your elbows to the floor and just gently rock your head side to side. So notice that sense of support of your neck as you let that tension go. And then keeping your hips on your heels, walk your hands forward and then lift your head and bring your hands slightly back. So your belly is resting on your thighs, but what we're doing is really keeping the pelvis in neutral. So as we do this next movement, you'll feel the rotation more in your mid-spine. So take your left hand a little closer to you and take your right hand on the back of your head where your hairline is. Start to push your hairline into your hand. So you're finding, again, that neutral cervical spine by taking the chin towards the throat. So the head pressing into the hand helps that. Push down through your left hand as you start to rotate open towards your right elbow and gaze up towards your right elbow. Chin draws towards your throat as you start to rotate towards your left arm. You can either touch your elbow in front of your right knee or bend your left elbow and take your elbow in front of your left knee. Start to press down through the left hand. Push the back of your head into your right hand. Start to rotate open to the right as you gaze up towards your right elbow. Left elbow starts to bend as you rotate back, close to the left. So you're moving at your own rate now. Start to find these movements within yourself. So finding awareness of the cervical spine, that chin tucked towards your throat. Start to feel the movement in your mid back. So there's no movement in your lower back. It's being positioned and stable with the hips on your heels. So as little movement in the pelvis as you can. And then notice your breath as you start to include more movement and twisting. Can you still find that slow, even breath? Come back to neutral and shift forward. So your left hand is remaining on the floor, wrist below your shoulder. Take your left hand, place the back of your left hand into your lower back. Press your lower back slightly into your hand. You still have that slight lower back curve. Press down through the left hand, feeling the shoulder blade glide on the outside of your rib cage, and tuck your toes under. Push down through your left hand, draw chin towards throat, rotate open to the left, gazing back towards your right elbow. And then glide your shoulder blade towards your spine as you rock your chest and let your head drop towards your left arm. Push down through your left arm, shoulder blade glides to the outside of the rib cage. Start to twist open, head stays in neutral, and then gaze back and rotate down. Try this a few more times. Finding kind of that incremental movement of rotation, starting in the mid-spine, right around the bottom of your rib cage, and moving up into your cervical spine. Come back into neutral. And take your left hand, right foot out to the side. Twist open all the way to the right and reach your right hand up towards the sky. As you exhale, twist. Actually, we're going to switch the legs. So your left leg comes out to the side, foot to the floor, and then thread the needle. So taking your right shoulder to the ground, ear to the ground. Allow your right toes to move towards your left foot or towards the left side of your mat. Walk your left hands forward. So in line with your head, come up onto your fingertips and start to walk your left fingertips to the right as you roll onto the back of your head. Only going as far as you can, maintaining that easeful breath. And if you can walk them pretty far over to the left, maybe allow the hand to lift completely off the floor, palm rolling up towards the sky and reaching your left hand kind of as far over to the right, allowing the head to follow, perhaps being able to kind of catch your left thumb in your peripheral vision. Release the left hand back in front of the face as you come back up into that tabletop position. Hips move towards your heels, but gaze between your hands beyond the front of your mat. Drop your elbows to the floor and slide your chest up between your hands as you come onto your belly. Stack your hands to make a pillow for your forehead and rest your forehead on the floor. Bring your feet together. Press the front of your feet into the floor. Press your thighs into the floor and your pubic bone into the floor. Lift your lower belly off the floor. Draw your chin up towards your throat, so creating that triple chin look. Keep that, and then lift your forehead off your hands. Continue to gaze down towards your heart and release. Legs pressing into the floor, belly off the floor, draw chin towards your throat. So stacking the vertebrae, lifting the hairline up to lift the head off the hands. Hold here and then bring your elbows to rest underneath your shoulders. So Sphinx pose, continuing to tone your lower belly, drawing it off the floor. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and let your head fall towards the floor. So let it go. And then start to draw the chin up the front of your spine to stack your head. Shoulder blades come down your back. Lift your head, gaze forward. Turn your head to the right. Turn it forward. Turn your head to the left. Turn it forward. Tuck your chin towards your throat, almost as if you're sliding your chin down the front of your throat, the front of your chest. Allow the shoulder blades to rest towards your ears, head dangles. And then one more time, slide the chin up the front of the throat, coming all the way up, stacking. Shoulder blades come down your back, lift your head. Turn your head to the right. Turn it forward. Turn your head to the left. Turn it forward. Slowly, shoulders come up towards your ears. Forehead to the floor, hands below your shoulders, tuck your toes, press up through hands and knees, and press back to child's pose, forehead on the floor. And again, with ease, rock your head side to side. And stretch the arms forward, lift the head, look forward beyond your hands, and then slide your hands closer to your knees. So this time, right hand remains on the floor. Belly's on the thighs, but lifting off the thighs to support the core. Left hand comes behind your head, right at your hairline. Start to press the hairline into your hands. And then rotate open towards the left, gazing up towards your left elbow. It only may be peripheral vision. And then start to twist. Maybe the right elbow bends, touching either in front of your left knee or your right knee. Start to press the back of the head into your hands as you push right hand into the floor and then twist towards your left elbow. Continue this movement, finding first the stability of your hips, so they're not moving, the rotation in your lower rib cage, lower spine, finding the back of your head firm into your hands so you have that cervical stability, but then opening the cervical up towards your left elbow. Lift back up to neutral and then shift forward so that your right shoulder is above your right wrist, knees below your hips. Take your back of your left hand into your lower back. So you find that lower back curve, front of the belly engaged, hips stay in neutral. Start to rotate from your mid-spine open to the left, gazing back, and then rolling towards your right arm. You'll feel the shoulder blade kind of glide on your back. Press down through your right hand shoulder blade, stabilizes as you roll spine open to the left and down. Find the same movement, finding that low, slow, even breath. Finding the rotation. You can even think of it kind of rippling up your spine as you rotate open and rippling up as you rotate closed. Come back to neutral. Bring both hands to the floor, or bring both hands to the floor. Take your right foot out. Left hand reaches up towards the sky, gaze up towards your thumb, and then twist close, taking your left shoulder to the ground, ear to the ground, left toes come towards the right side of your mat. Walk your right hand forward. And then slowly start to walk the right hand over to the left as you come onto the back of your head. Continue to take the hand as far out to the left as you can. Maybe opting to take the hand off the floor, palm facing up towards the sky, reaching far to the left as you can. Gaze follows. Bring the left or right hand back in front of the face. Press up to hands and knees. Start to move the hips towards the heels, continuing to look beyond the front of your mats. Elbows lower to the floor, chest between your hands, belly releases to the floor, legs extend long. Stack your hands, forehead on your hands. Feet together, press feet into the floor, thighs into the floor, pelvis into the floor, lift your lower belly. This time, keep your hands on your head. Draw your chin towards your throat, lift hands and head off the floor. Stay here and cactus your arms out to the side, so elbows in line with your shoulders, forearms and palms facing down. Bring the hands back to the forehead and lower down. Take a breath in. Release it out. Legs strong. Tone the belly. Draw chin towards throat. Keep hands on the forehead. Lift up. Keep drawing chin towards throat. And then cactus the arms out to the side. Lift the forearms further away from the floor. And see if you can keep that low, slow, even, quiet breath here. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands back to the forehead, lower all the way down. Take a few breaths here. Quieting down the breath. Feeling the bottom of the rib cage and the lower belly expand into the floor. And bring your hands below your shoulders, tuck your toes, press up to hands and knees. Spread your fingers, wrist in line with the upper edge of your mat. Hover your knees off the floor. Start to press your hips back and then lift your hips up, coming into downward facing dog. So knees can be bent. Find as much length in your spine as you can. So reaching tailbone up and back, pressing hands down into the floor, and then allow your head to completely let go. So reaching the crown of the head towards the floor, and then shake your head yes. Shake your head no. So we're creating more space. This is a great place to feel that space in your neck. Lower down onto your knees and come up. So we're going to start to come into a little bit more. We're going to rely on that movement of the thoracic spine with the hips stable. So we did that in a tabletop position, keeping the hips stable. This position is going to be a little bit more challenging because it's a little less grounded. So step your right foot forward. Take your right thumb in your hip crease and use it to roll the outer hip down towards the floor. So feel the pelvis in neutral. And we're use the awareness of where our limbs are on the floor to ground down. So press your right foot down, and as if you were dragging it back, at the same time, push your left knee down and push it forward. So you kind of feel this tractioning in that stabilizes the hips. Reach the arms forward, palms touch. So we did this lying on our back at the beginning of class. So as if you're pulling back a bow and arrow, bring your right hand across the chest and stretch it behind you, gazing as far towards your right thumb as you can. And then take the hand back across the chest and reach it towards your left hand. Draw back, open up, release head towards your right thumb, and then draw it back across. So continue this movement for several more rounds. The foot, right foot and left knee are still pushing down and drawing towards each other to stabilize the pelvis. So the movement is in the mid spine. As it trickles up, the neck comes into rotation. And again, the breath is calm, slow, low, and light. This time, stay open. Reach your left hand towards the floor inside of your right foot. You might need the block here, but walk your right foot forward far enough that you can bring your hand either down to the floor or down to the block. Reach your left hand back, gaze towards your right thumb, and then take your right hand behind your head. Start to push the back of your head into your hands. As you exhale, twist towards your left arm. So the chest rolls towards your left arm, elbow reaches towards your right foot. So round down, then push through your left hand, push the head into your hands to start to push the head up towards the sky, and then rotate open. Gaze up towards your right elbow. Start to roll towards your left arm. Elbow reaches towards your right foot. Push down into your left hand. Rotate open, heads pushing into the hand, and then rotating to gaze back. Do this 2 more times. Feeling first, ease of breath. And then noticing, can you feel each vertebrae rotate open one at a time? This time, rotate open, push the head into the hand to rotate head open a little bit more, and then lift the right hand up. Hand comes to the outside of your right foot, and step back into downward facing dog again. Let the head go. Reach tailbone up and back. Press hands down. Neck is loose. And then come down onto your knees. Shift up. Step your left foot up. Press the feet and knee down and push them towards each other. Left outer hip, if you want to pull the hip crease down, draws down towards the floor. Reach the arms out in front of you, palms touch. Pull back your bow and arrow. Feel it rotate up your spine and into your neck as you gaze back towards your left thumb, and then take it across. Continue this movement several times. And sometimes you may find that one side is a little bit more stable in the hips. So just notice that and create that tractioning of the foot and knee towards each other. So a little core action is happening. Notice the breath, breathing light and easeful. Next time you come open, stay open, gaze towards your left thumb. Take your right hand inside your left foot, either to the floor or the block. Walk the left foot forward. Gaze back towards your left thumb as you sink a little deeper into your front hip crease. Hand to the floor, left hand behind the head. Start to push the back of the head into your hand, feeling chin draw in towards throat, and then twist. Chest towards right, upper arm, elbow reaches towards the floor. Press down, feel the spine. Rotate open, head to hand, eyes to elbow. Roll closed. Feel the shoulder blade glide as you reach the elbow towards the floor. Press down through the right hand as you stack and rotate the spine open. Do a couple of more times. Noticing as you move more, what's happening to your breath. Next time you come open, stay open, push the head into the hand to find more length in the spine. You can even use your hand to kind of pull your head off of your spine, arm reaches up. Both hands to the floor. Come back into downward facing dog. Press down through the hands, reach back through the tailbone, head bobbles. And release the knees to the floor. Cross the ankles and sit the hips back towards the heels. And then lower down onto your back. So bridge pose, we're using this chin towards throat. So take your fingertip to your chin and press your chin towards the floor. You'll feel the back of your neck move closer to the floor, and the crown of the head is almost as if it stretches towards the wall behind you. Bring your hands to the floor beside your hips. Snuggle your shoulder blades closer to your spine, and then again, chin towards throat. So nice long cervical spine. And slightly pressing the back of the head into the floor. Press down through the inner edges of your feet. Lift your hips off the floor. Snuggle your shoulder blades closer together. Press chin towards throat. Grow long in the back of your spine. Hands behind your hips. Press down. Lift your hips higher. And then find your breath here. In this position, you might hear your breath, but can you soften it to the point where you sense very little sound and movement of your breath? Release your hands, release your hips, release your shoulders, hug your knees towards your chest, and rock side to side. And as you rock, can you once again find that bobblehead, drawing figure eights on the ceiling with your nose, recognizing the freedom that you've created in your neck, the ease, the release, and then find stillness. Release legs long to the ground, arms resting open beside your hips, palms facing up. Take a deep breath low into your rib cage. Softly release your exhale. As you do, feeling this sense of release throughout your entire body. Coming back into that beginning point Noticing how the body feels now. Sensing where the mind is. And returning to the breath. Once again, noticing as you draw awareness to the breath, what happens to the breath? Do you try to change it? And bring one hand back to rest on your lower belly. Again, the second hand resting on your lower rib cage. So the bottom of your rib cage, not your heart, but where the rib cage turns into the belly. And find yourself creating a sense of softness in this area. So a slight expansion with each inhalation. And an easy, slow softening with each exhalation. As you keep your hands here, still sensing this light movement with each breath, can you soften it even more? Almost to the point where there is no movement. If you sense the breath within your mind, the sound of your breath with each consecutive breath, can you make it a little less audible? And if you can feel the cool air passing in and out through your nostrils, with each consecutive breath, can you create a sense that there's so little air moving in and out that the hairs within your nose would not move with the breath? And if you're feeling a sense of air hunger, this is normal, but it should be tolerable. So if you need a little bit more air, of course, allow for that. But as you allow yourself more air, can you then return to that sense of softness? And so this quote is from the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which is an ancient text of yoga. And it says, when prana moves, chitta moves. When prana is without movement, chitta is without movement. By this steadiness of prana, the yogi attains steadiness and we should thus restrain the vayus. And so what this means, chitta is the mind, and one of the intentions of yoga is to quiet the mind, quiet the thoughts, and that we can do this by quieting the breath. So if we can still the breath to the point of not being aware of it, we have thus stilled the mind. We have controlled the vayu, the air. And in doing this, we create a steadiness within, that sense of calm, like the stillness of the lake. We create that still mind by stilling, quieting the breath. Allow your breath to return to normal. Feeling that sensation of being nourished by the prana, by your breath. Notice the state of your mind, the state of your body. And slowly roll on to your right side, allowing the head to dangle towards the floor, or if you're using your upper arm as a pillow. Noticing what you're feeling in your upper back and your neck. And keeping your eyes closed and your head really heavy. Use your hands and your forearms to push yourself up, feeling as if you're stacking one vertebrae at a time, starting from the lower spine all the way up to where the head stacks gently on top of your cervical spine. Bring your hands to meet at heart center. Lightly draw your chin towards your throat and then up to bow your head towards your heart. So it is within this awareness of the breath, of the prana, that we find a more steady and calm mind, both in stillness and in movement. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you return for more mindful movement with the breath and body. The divine in me honors the divine.